If you've driven in a Fisker Ocean, you have definitely experienced at some point or another the Advanced Driver Assist System, or ADAS.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Right then, I just turned the corner, and then I got the inattentive driver warning again.
It's a bit of a chatty one. It likes to talk, and it will alert you to all kinds of things that you may know and may not know or may not want to know. But it's particularly chatty in fog, low light, nighttime driving, rain, snow, any conditions that throw the sensors off a little bit. Just causes the car to be a little loud with its concern for your well-being.
As a brief recap, what is the ADAS system? It's comprised of the ultrasonic sensors, the front surround view camera, the side surround view camera, the front main camera, the rear surround view camera, the rear view camera, the mid-range radar, the ADAS controller, and the driver monitoring camera.
And actually, in the original Fisker Ocean manual, they specifically said there are conditions which will cause ADAS to be alerting you quite a lot of what's going on around it. I really see it as kind of an unfinished product. You know, it needed a lot more work, a lot more testing, but unfortunately the car manufacturer ceased to exist, so we're kind of stuck with the software that we have. Or are we?
So I decided to run a software version report in OceanLink Pro's diagnostics tool to look at the different software versions for ADAS that I had installed on my car. And I started to realize that the version that I had for Hydra, for example, version 17 for left-hand drive and version 19 for right-hand drive, this was the same exact software that was installed at the factory with operating system 1.10. We were supposed to receive in operating system 1.11 an update to version 20 or version 21 for right-hand drive. We didn't receive it because the installation was causing some problems, and so Fisker techs stopped trying to update them. And as I started to reach out to other owners, we realized that not only Hydra, but also the radars had not been updated. And depending on where people lived, like for example, some people in the EU had updated versions of radars, updated versions of Hydra. But what I really wanted to know is, with all these different software versions, was there a difference in the driving experience? And even more so, if there was an update beyond what all of us had, would it also improve the driving experience of the car?
So there is a version that service techs are offering in certain parts, and it's called ADAS 3.1. The version of this software is something that came out right around the time of the bankruptcy, and as far as I have seen in the reports that I've read, this version 3.1 was homologated. Releasing software at the time of a bankruptcy of a company is probably not the ideal time and place to be issuing software updates. So what we at the FOA really think is that people should be cautious. What this video is trying to do is not to tell you one way or another whether you should have it on your car. It is an investigation into what ADAS software versions are out there, the differences that they provide on different vehicles. And also today, where I'm going is I'm actually going to meet up with an owner who has ADAS 3.1, and we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of his car and my car driving on the same roads, the same conditions, and we're going to see if we get different alerts, if there's any difference whatsoever in the driving experience. And so hopefully we'll see a little bit of a difference there that we can compare. But I also don't know if it will be different. It might be exactly the same. There's been some people who have said that ADAS 3.1 reduces a lot of the alerts that they were seeing. Other people say it's about a 10% difference. So I just wanted to do a comparison side by side. Okay, so here we are. This is our tour. And this is his car. What differences have you noticed already with your car?
So I have been driving car after the update for a couple of days now, and I can definitely tell that there is a lot less warnings, especially the warnings that were like very annoying before and almost appeared to be triggered for no reason, for no obvious reason to me. I am not seeing those anymore. Any warning that was displayed to me, either visual or audible, was really due to some situation on the road that I could explain, and mostly was I was pushing car myself into some situations to trigger those, and the car reacted properly. The radar recognized whatever situation, because it became so quiet inside of the car that I even for a moment lost faith that it's still working. So I wanted to push it a little bit more to trigger some of those warnings, and it worked so far so good.
So as part of this test, one of the things that I want to make sure of is that for each of the features within safety, which is controlling all of the ADAS functionality, I want to make sure that each of them are set to recommended settings. So for all of these, even though I don't always use them on recommended settings, each car is going to be set to have lane departure on recommended settings, front collision mitigation, blind spot detection, driver attention monitoring alerts, which I always turn off because this one drives me really nuts, door open warning, recommended settings, and traffic light assist. All of these are going to be recommended settings. Okay, well, it's starting to snow a little bit here. The one challenge in this test is that it's not raining, there isn't heavy fog, it's not really dark. The conditions that we know trigger the ADAS the most are not really present, but there is a little bit of snow and it's cold, so I think we should be able to see, hopefully, a little bit of difference. So we'll compare videos and we'll see how it all plays out, but so far, I think this is going to be a really interesting test. So. All right, so we were just driving for about 15 minutes and need to do a battery swap with one of the cameras, but I'm really curious to know, did you see anything on your car? Like, did you get any alerts?
I don't know if you're going to be disappointed by that, but I say no.
You didn't get any?
Any.
Zero?
Zero.
Okay, so actually the disappointing thing is I got zero and it's snowing. This is really weird.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'm seeing if I'm getting close to the line, there's the lane assist,
Mm-hmm.
But no sounds really. It just shows me on the display here.
But you didn't get a single alert?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I think that this weather is, it's not too crazy. Like, this is just a light snow.
It's getting better, worse though.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see something.
Okay, so we're going to swap out batteries and try again, maybe go for a little bit further, but so far, nothing.
I'm not sure if it was because the car knew it was being watched or if the conditions just really weren't bad enough. But for the rest of the afternoon, during all of our tests, I didn't receive a single ADAS alert, and neither did Artur. So we ended up calling off our tests together that day, and as I was driving home, I thought about other conditions that we could record, knowing that we both live about 45 minutes away from each other, so the conditions should be fairly similar. And we did. We went out another day during a rainstorm, and my clock is 5 hours ahead on the left, and Artur's clock is, I believe, 1 hour ahead in the video that he was filming. So we were filming at roughly the same time, and the weather conditions were constant throughout the entire day. And you can see how many ADAS alerts I'm receiving as I drive compared to his. So this test seemed to be pretty conclusive that the rain conditions were causing my car to give a lot of alerts, whereas his was not. In this test, you can see on the left, my car driving at 8 in the morning, sun hitting directly to the front camera causes ADAS alert. Artur was driving a little bit later in the morning, but was also receiving no alerts. And he says that in general, early morning or at sunset, he doesn't receive as many alerts. So we know that the version of ADAS on our cars is very outdated from the factory. It's the first version that was installed. There are updates to ADAS that exist that should have been installed on our cars and probably should be on our cars right now, specifically versions 20 and 21 of Hydra, and some of the radar updates that exist. I think that the current state of ADAS 3.1 still does require more testing, and we should be careful in making sure that it alerts us appropriately of things that are happening on the road. We don't want an ADAS system that's completely silent, but we also don't want to be alerted constantly when the conditions of low light, fog, rain, or snow are such that we need to be focused on driving and focused on the road instead of being alerted constantly. So I think that there's a middle ground here. We've collected data from users across the US, Canada, EU, and UK, and a big thank you to everyone on the WhatsApp group and Discord for sharing your software versions, your videos, and your personal stories about how ADAS works for you. We know at this point that across all the different versions of software running on our ADAS systems, some users report very few issues at all, but most of us have seen an overabundance of alerts in rain, fog, low light, and snow. We know that we need a safe way to update ADAS. At a minimum, up to the versions of 20 and 21 as identified earlier, or maybe even up to ADAS 3.1. None of us want a bricked vehicle, but what we do want is for the safest version of ADAS to be installed that will give us the best possible driving experience. So as always, thanks so much for watching, and if you've had a different experience than what's been described in this video, please comment below and tell us what software you're running and how your driving experience has been.